Picture this for a moment. You've hit 65. The bags are zipped and the ship waiting in front of you looks like a floating city. Bright lights, polished decks, and that quiet promise of freedom you only feel at sea. But here's the part most travelers your age never hear. Cruise lines are counting on you not to ask for the perks that were designed specifically for you. These aren't favors, they aren't VIP upgrades. They're real, written-in policy benefits that exist because of maritime accessibility rules, yet cruise lines rarely mention them. Why? Because every perk you claim costs them time, staffing, and money, so they keep quiet, hoping you don't know what to request, when to ask, or the exact wording that unlocks doors most seniors never realize are there. But once you do, you board without stress, you dine on your schedule, you avoid crowds, reduce hassle, and even score upgrades, all by simply knowing what you're entitled to. And today, we're walking through 10 hidden perks seniors constantly miss, starting with the one that completely changes the first hour of your cruise. Before we dive in, let me ask you this. Tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing the Cruise Cipher community from all over the world. And if you enjoy videos that actually help you cruise smarter, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and I'd love to have you on board for every new breakdown. All right, let's begin. Perk 1. Priority boarding without the chaos. Boarding day is exciting, sure, but it can also drain you before the vacation even starts. The lines twist through the terminal, luggage feels heavier by the minute, and the noise can wear you down fast. But here's what most seniors don't realize. If you're 65 or older, you can request priority boarding assistance even if you don't use a wheelchair. This isn't a special upgrade, it's part of accessibility law at sea. Tell the cruise line that standing or walking long distances is difficult, and they're required to help. And this perk goes way beyond simply skipping a line. You can be escorted smoothly through the terminal, helped with luggage, guided directly to your cabin without navigating crowded hallways, assisted onto tender boats at ports where steep steps or unstable footing make boarding stressful. And the best part? You don't have to use this for the whole voyage. You can request it only where you feel you need it. Maybe you're fine in Miami, but that steep gangway in Santorini gives you pause. When you ask in advance, boarding becomes calm, simple, and surprisingly easy. Instead of starting your cruise exhausted, you begin it relaxed and ready to enjoy the days ahead. Perk 2. Priority treatment when you need it most. Here's something many senior cruisers don't realize. Once you're over 65, a lot of cruise lines quietly offer forms of priority assistance, and they rarely advertise them. This isn't about cutting the line or special privileges. It's about making sure you don't waste your energy on the parts of travel that feel the most draining. For example, if you ask ahead of time, many ships will provide early boarding windows, help with carry-on bags, or faster processing during embarkation. Some lines even have dedicated staff stationed at the terminal specifically to assist seniors or anyone who needs a slower pace moving through the check-in steps. And it doesn't stop once you're on board. If you ever need help getting to muster stations, navigating gangways at port, or handling long walking distances inside the terminal, crew members will step in immediately. You just have to request it, because these perks aren't offered automatically unless you mention it. The best part? You don't need to be in a wheelchair or have a formal disability. Sometimes all you need to say is, "I'd appreciate a little assistance today." It's one of the most overlooked advantages seniors have at sea. And using it doesn't make you less independent, it simply saves your energy for the parts of the cruise you actually want to enjoy. Perk 3. Priority access to the best shore excursions. Here's something a lot of senior cruisers don't even realize. You actually have an advantage when it comes to snagging the best shore excursions, the ones that sell out fast. Because most retirees have more flexible schedules, they tend to book their cruises earlier than younger travelers. And early bookers get first pick of everything, from the top-rated cultural tours to gentle scenic outings designed for comfort. Cruise lines know this too.
Many itineraries feature excursions built specifically with older travelers in mind. Slower walking tours, panoramic bus rides, cooking classes, wine tastings, heritage tours. Experiences that focus more on depth and immersion than adrenaline. And here's the part that gets overlooked. These relaxed excursions are usually the first to disappear. You're not fighting for zipline slots or snorkeling groups. You're competing with other seniors who also book early. So if you're 65 or older, you already have a built-in advantage. You can secure the most comfortable, meaningful excursions before the crowd even starts checking their options. A huge perk, as long as you don't wait until embarkation day to choose.
Perk 4. Priority seating at shows that most seniors don't even realize exists. One of the easiest perks to miss, and one of the most useful, is priority or early seating at major shows. Most cruise lines quietly reserve a section for guests who need extra time to get settled, and that includes many seniors. You'll see it most clearly in the main theater, the comedy lounge, and any big production venue. Instead of squeezing through crowds or trying to navigate stairs in dim lighting, you can simply arrive a few minutes early and ask the staff at the entrance. They'll usually guide you to a reserved area with better visibility and easier access. It's not advertised, it's not flashy, but it makes a world of difference on ships where seats fill fast and the good sections disappear quickly. This perk ensures you're comfortable, settled, and not rushing, so you can enjoy the show the way it's meant to be enjoyed. Relaxed, front and center, with a clear view of everything. And the best part? Most cruisers don't even know it exists. It's one of those quiet perks you only learn after talking to crew members or seasoned travelers who use it every trip. Perk 5. Priority assistance at guest services. Once you cross 65, something shifts on cruise ships, and most people don't even notice it's happening. Guest services, the place where lines stretch forever on embarkation day and on the last night of the cruise, quietly becomes a lot less stressful for you. Cruise lines know seniors often travel with questions, billing adjustments, dining changes, mobility help, excursion clarifications. And because of that, crew members are trained to move older guests forward faster, solve issues on the spot, and keep the process simple. You won't always see a sign that says priority, but you'll feel it. Staff step aside for you. They wave you in. They make sure you don't stand in a line longer than necessary. Even small things like fixing a key card or adjusting a gratuity can take minutes instead of half an hour. And if you travel with a cane, walker, or mobility scooter, the level of attention becomes even more noticeable. Crew will step out from behind the desk, walk you through forms, or handle paperwork for you. It's not a perk printed in brochures. It's a human one. A quiet, respectful way cruise lines take care of older guests, and most people under 65 have no idea it even exists.
Perk 6. Priority boarding without even asking. Here's something most senior cruisers don't realize. You don't always need a status level or a suite to skip the long, slow-moving check-in lines. Once you hit 65, many cruise lines quietly allow you to board earlier if you simply show up prepared. It's not advertised, and they won't announce it over the speaker system, but the moment staff sees you in the general boarding line, they often move you into the priority lane automatically. Why? Because cruise terminals are designed to keep things flowing, and seniors standing in the sun or on concrete for 40 to 60 minutes is the last thing the port team wants. If you look confident, have your documents ready, and walk up at the right time, boarding becomes effortless. In fact, on some sailings, seniors get waved through the moment security opens, long before the rest of the crowd starts stacking up behind them. It's one of those perks nobody mentions, but once you experience it, you'll never want to board any other way again. Perk 7. priority access to medical staff without the long waits. Here's something most younger cruisers never think about, but seniors quietly benefit from the moment they step on board. Cruise ships do have medical centers, and while they're not full hospitals, they're well equipped and run by trained, experienced staff. What many people don't realize is that guests over 65 often get seen faster, especially when the issue is blood pressure, medication adjustments, dizziness, or mobility-related concerns. You're not cutting the line, it's simply how the onboard medical triage system works. Older guests are automatically treated as higher priority, especially if something seems off or needs attention before it becomes a real problem. That means quicker check-ins, faster evaluations, and shorter time sitting in a waiting room you didn't want to be in to begin with. And here's the bonus. The medical team is used to working with seniors. They communicate clearly, they slow things down, they explain your options, and they're kinder than what you normally find at home. You may never need this perk, and hopefully you won't. But knowing it's there adds a layer of comfort that makes your whole trip feel a lot more secure.
Perk 8. Priority tendering without the stress. Here's a perk most seniors don't realize they already qualify for. Smoother, faster tendering on ports that require smaller boats to ferry passengers ashore. On many sailings, older travelers get a bit of extra consideration, not because it's advertised, but because crew members know tendering can be uncomfortable if you're dealing with mobility issues, balance concerns, or joint pain. You won't see this perk written anywhere, but it shows up in how the process works. Crew often guide seniors toward earlier groups, offer discreet assistance stepping onto the tender, and make sure there's a stable seat waiting once you board. It's small, but when thousands of people are all trying to get off the ship at once, it makes a massive difference. If you're over 65, don't hesitate to ask the crew for help during tendering days. They're trained to make the process easier for you, and they genuinely prefer helping early rather than rushing to solve problems later. Smooth, calm, and organized. Exactly what you want on a port day. Perk 9. Priority access to medical staff even when it's busy. Here's something most seniors don't realize until they actually sail. On a cruise ship, age isn't just a number, it quietly moves you up the ladder when it comes to medical attention. Cruise ship medical centers can get surprisingly busy. Seasickness, sunburns, sprains, stomach upsets, it all adds up, especially on longer itineraries. But passengers 65 and older generally receive quicker evaluation, faster check-ins, and shorter wait times when something feels off. It's not advertised, and no one announces it over the intercom. It's simply part of the ship's wellness protocol. Older guests are considered higher priority, so nurses and onboard physicians make sure you're seen promptly and comfortably. And here's the part few people know. If you have mobility issues, breathing problems, or a chronic condition that suddenly flares up, medical teams will often come to you, your cabin, a lounge, wherever you're sitting, instead of asking you to walk the whole length of the ship. This perk doesn't take away your independence. It just means help arrives faster and the staff stays a little more attentive, especially during rough weather or crowded sea days when the clinic fills up. Quiet perk, but one of the most reassuring on the list.
Perk 10. Easier upgrades and priority offers. Here's the thing most seniors never realize. Once you cross 60 or 65, cruise lines quietly start treating you like a prime candidate for upgrades, especially on sailings that aren't fully booked. You won't see this advertised anywhere, but older travelers are viewed as reliable guests. You show up on time, you follow instructions, and you don't create chaos for the crew. Cruise lines love that. So when they have leftover balcony cabins, or an ocean view room no one claimed, or a suite they're trying to fill so they can close out the manifest, guess who often gets the first call? Not the families, not the party groups, not the spring break crowd. You.
Sometimes these upgrades come through official emails a few weeks before the cruise, like bid for an upgrade or special senior rate available. Sometimes they happen right at the port, where the check-in agent quietly says, "Would you like a balcony for a small additional fee today?" And sometimes, on ships that are sailing below capacity, they're totally free. No bidding, no hoops, just a simple room assignment change that feels like winning the vacation lottery. Add in senior exclusive offers, early bird discounts, loyalty credit stacking, and low-pressure upsells, and older cruisers end up with better cabins, more perks, and lower pricing than most other age groups on board. It's not guaranteed every time, but when it hits, it feels like the cruise gods personally upgraded your vacation. And that wraps up the 10 senior perks most cruisers never even realize they qualify for. Once you hit 55, 60, or 65, the cruise world starts opening small doors that can make your trip quieter, easier, and a whole lot more comfortable. But only if you know where to look. If today's video helped you spot a perk you didn't know existed, make sure you're subscribed to Cruise Cipher. We break everything down in a way that keeps cruising simple, stress-free, and worth every dollar you spend. And before you book your next sailing, check the links below. I've added a few tools that make planning smoother: discount finders, luggage checklists, and guides for choosing the right ship for your style of travel. Thanks for watching, thanks for being here, and wherever you're sailing next, travel smart, travel calm, and enjoy every second at sea.